We often convince ourselves that the weight of our ambitions must be shouldered alone, that reaching out for help is a confession of weakness. But what if this fierce independence isn't a virtue, but the very roadblock standing between us and our dreams? This is the story of a young man named David, who believed he had to carve his own destiny, only to discover that the truest path to success is a road walked with others. In the small village of Oakhaven, nestled in a valley of green fields and rocky roads, lived David, a young carpenter. He inherited a small, dilapidated workshop from his late father. Its roof sagged, its sign was faded, and every day was a solitary struggle. The sounds of his tools were his only companions as he worked from dawn till dusk, barely making enough for bread, soup, and firewood to keep the winter chill at bay. But David's spirit refused to be confined. At twilight, he'd gaze at the distant hills and whisper his dream to the fading light. "I'll have a big furniture store of my own." The name David of Oakhaven will mean quality, craftsmanship. Reality, however, was a harsh critic. Every time he saved a little money, a new expense would appear: a leak in the roof, a broken tool, or medicine for his mother. Some villagers saw his ambition as foolish. David, a local farmer named Silas, once sneered, "You can't even afford good wood. What makes you think you can build a grand store?" The words stung, but they only hardened his resolve. One day, a wise traveling merchant named Mr. Aziz entered his shop. Impressed by a small, carved box, he offered David his biggest commission ever, a grand dining table for a wealthy client, to be completed in 1 week. The payment was more than David had seen in months. It was a lifeline. For 2 days, David worked with a feverish joy, but then disaster. He realized he had miscalculated and was out of the fine walnut wood he needed. He rushed to the supplier, only to find the price had doubled. He couldn't afford it. Panic set in. Asking Mr. Aziz for more money felt like admitting failure. Desperate, he went to a local moneylender, who laughed in his face. "Dreams don't pay bills, David," he sneered. That evening, David sat outside his silent workshop, the weight of failure crushing him. As despair closed in, he remembered his mother's words: "Every great forest begins with a single seed. Don't be afraid to start, no matter how small." The memory was a spark in the darkness. The next morning, David made a bold move. He took his last few coins, packed 3 cleverly designed folding chairs he'd made, and took a cart to the city. It was a huge risk. If he didn't sell them, he wouldn't even have enough money to get home. He found a small corner in the chaotic city market. For hours, no one noticed him. His heart sank. Then, a wealthy-looking lady paused. She unfolded a chair, sat down, and her eyebrows shot up in surprise at its sturdiness. She bought all 3, clutching the money more than enough for the walnut. David felt a surge of pure triumph. He bought the wood, returned to Oakhaven, and worked through the night, finishing the table just as the sun rose on the 7th day. Mr. Aziz was thrilled. "You are a talented young man, David," he said, his eyes twinkling. "Never give up on your dream." Mr. Aziz's praise spread. Orders started pouring in. Then came the opportunity that would change everything. A prominent businessman, Mr. Thorne, placed a staggering order: 10 matching dining tables, to be delivered in just 1 month. The payment was transformative, but the challenge seemed impossible. He had a tiny workshop, no help, and a tight deadline. Still, David said yes. He drew up a frantic plan. To afford the massive amount of wood needed, he made a painful choice. He sold his father's gold watch, his last tangible memory. With tears in his eyes, he whispered, "Sometimes you have to take great risks to achieve something great." He began to work with a relentless fury, day and night. He skipped meals, barely slept. His hands became cracked and bleeding. Villagers would call out, "David, take a break. You'll make yourself sick." But he was locked in his solitary race. In the final week, as he finished the last table, a critical leg piece splintered and broke. The sound of cracking wood was the sound of his spirit breaking. He slumped onto a stool, utterly defeated. Just then, his mother walked in. "Son," she said softly, "take a rest. Life isn't just about chasing dreams." Through a sob, David replied, "I just want to prove I can do this. Mom, I want to prove them all wrong." She placed a warm hand on his shoulder. "You have already proven so much. But if your health breaks, this success will mean nothing. A single pillar cannot hold up a roof, David. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, my son. It's a sign of wisdom." Her words washed over him, dousing the fire of his pride. The next morning, for the first time, David walked into the village square and asked for help. To his astonishment, they came. An old carpenter showed him how to fix the broken leg. Women brought hot meals, and Silas, the farmer who had mocked him, showed up at his workshop. "Heard you need some strong backs for lifting," he grumbled, a grudging respect in his eyes. Together, they finished the work ahead of schedule. The workshop, once a place of lonely toil, was now filled with laughter and camaraderie. When Mr. Thorne arrived, he was impressed not just by the quality, but by the spirit of the village. He paid David in full. With that money, David built his new, bigger workshop right there in Oakhaven. He hired young apprentices, including Silas's son. But the greatest thing he gained wasn't the money or the building. It was the profound lesson that a dream takes more than singular, back-breaking work. It takes humility, community, and knowing when to ask for help. True strength isn't carrying the load yourself, but building a bridge strong enough for others to cross and help you. And that is how you find not just success, but a life truly worth living. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that inspires and uplifts. We'll see you in the next video.